Shawn from Shield Gaming here, and we had a big week with Flesh and Blood with spoilers. And I wanted to take a few minutes just to kind of go through the cards that we've seen in this like week and a half, I guess you could say, of spoilers, and talk through a couple of them and give some concepts. If you haven't seen them, maybe you've seen some. They've been spreading the spoilers out in a ton of different directions, different shops that are supporting them, different websites. And so if you haven't been tracking where they're all at or going to the website and clicking all the different links, they are updating the card database. So that's a good thing. But I wanted to talk through a couple of these, and I wanted to get some dialogue going on them because I think there's some really cool concepts coming out already, and we've only seen a very small percentage of the entire set. So first we know Kayn, Drakai of Aether, is the new hero that was spoiled. We actually did see the other hero, the Inventor, but don't have a lot of details yet on her. But we know Kayn has the instant ability. Look at the top card of your deck. If it's a non-attack card, you may banish it. If you do, you may play it this turn as though it were an instant. And so a lot of potential there. There's been a lot of talk on a lot of the boards and the Discord about like, what does that do? How does that change things? I know there was some discussion about, well, on someone's draw step, you could technically, cast spells, and that's not true. That's been all kind of narrowed down to it's got to be in the action phase. The action phase is the only time you can play cards. So some of the people that were really in a big tizzy about the power of this, there's definitely a lot of power coming out of this, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how this all balances out, especially with the rest of the generics. So Crucible of Aetherwave is Kayn's weapon, and once per turn instant, you can pay one, and the card you play this turn with an effect that deals arcane damage instead deals that much damage plus one. So you're kind of paying one to push through an extra damage, although I'm sure there could be a couple of effects that could play off of that. Blazing Aether was spoiled later in the week, and this is one of his specialization cards. It's a Majestic, and it basically says deal X arcane damage to target hero, where X is the amount of arcane damage you have dealt to that hero this turn. It's a 0 cost, 1 pitch, 3 defense, and that seems really good. I mean, if you play a Voltic Bolt, you deal 5 to that person, they let it go through. This is another, if you give it go again somehow or get go again, this is another 0 action that quickly stacks up that damage, and basically it does 5 more damage. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think of some of the power. I mean, I like the theme of Kayn. The theme makes a lot of sense. It's if you are in a fight with a brute that is 8 feet tall and 900 pounds, if you're a wizard that has access to, flame balls, you're going to be firing as many of those as you can at the brute's face to try to stop him. You're not going to be engaging in a lot of melee combat. So the theme is certainly there, and I'm hoping that the balance will be. Sonic Boom, deal 3 arcane damage to the target opposing hero, and then if Sonic Boom deals damage, look at the top card of your deck. If it's a wizard non-attack action card, then you may banish it. If you do, you may play it this turn as though it were an instant, and the cost X resource points less to play, where X is the damage dealt by Sonic Boom. The wizard is throwing in a lot of wording on the cards, that's for sure, but essentially you deal 3 damage, pay 2, deal 3 arcane damage, and then if you pull up a non-attack wizard action card, you basically can cast that for free as an instant for X minus the cost of the card, and X being, or the cost minus X, the X being how much damage Sonic Boom got through. So again, here's another card where you're going to force your opponent to try and spend resources to block with their null rune equipment or whatever it may be. We're just going to see a lot more pitching on defense against the wizard. I think people are like, oh my gosh, this is just overpowered. And if you didn't have null rune armor, I could see that being the case. I'm interested to see from a sealed perspective how that does have impact if someone chooses to go there. But all of the armor you're going to be getting is going to be null rune armor in the sealed packages, I would imagine. So that should be fine. Forked Lightning. It's a 1 pitch, 3 cost. Deal 2 arcane damage to target hero. Deal 2 arcane damage to target hero. And this effect does count as 1 source of damage. And the damage any modifiers will go to both damage effects from Fork Lightning. And this has brought up some questions when talking about the Null Rune armor, where it says if your hero would be dealt arcane damage, you may pay 1 instead. If you do, prevent 1 arcane damage. So in that situation, it's considered 1 source, but if anytime you would be dealt damage, any arcane damage, you can pay 1 to whittle that damage away. So again, these don't feel as bad as they might be. If he's given a 3 power fireball at you, you can pitch 3 to defend that. And we'll just see kind of what that looks like in the back and forth play. Lessons in Lava was spoiled as well. It is a super rare Kano specialization. Deal 3 arcane damage to target opposing hero. If Lessons in Lava deals damage, you may search your deck for a wizard card with 1 cost equal to or less than the damage dealt by Lessons of Lava. Reveal it, then shuffle your deck and put it on top of your deck. So this is the fetch card for the wizard to be able to go in and get what you want. But Lessons of Lava has to go through. So again, we're forcing these attacks to be blocked and really putting your opponent to good decisions. Tome of Aetherwind was spoiled, I believe, Thursday of last week. And choose 2. You may choose the same mode more than once. The next card you play this turn with an effect that deals arcane damage instead deals that much +1, or you can draw a card. So you could definitely that's pretty powerful there, but you could play this and draw 2 cards, evidently. And so that's a super rare for the wizard. All right, so for the rares and commons, I'm just going to read the effect and show the red card. We know that there's going to be a yellow and a blue variation of that, and that is important on many levels, but the red is really the one you're trying to hit the main attacks with, and then the others are lessened in one way or another. Absorb an Aether is a rare card, and it says the next card you play this turn with an effect that deals arcane damage instead deals that much arcane damage +2 for a 1 cost, 1 pitch. Aether Spindle, the red version, is deal 4 arcane damage to the target opposing hero, and then you opt X, where X is the damage dealt by Aether Spindle, and opt is a scry mechanic, and an important one for Wizard with his special ability of being able to look at the top card and being able to banish it to be able to cast it as an instant. So the next is a rare card called Stir the Aether Winds, and the red variation of that is a 2 cost 2 defense card that says you may play your next wizard non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant, and if it has an effect that deals arcane damage, instead that effect deals that much damage +3. This is an expensive but very powerful pre-attack as you're setting up for doing some arcane damage. So Aether Flare is our first common on the list here, and it is 1 cost, the red version. And it says deal 3 arcane damage to the target opposing hero. The next card you play this turn with an effect that deals arcane damage instead deals that much arcane damage +X, where X is the amount of damage dealt by Aether Flare. So we're seeing a lot of the combos are really coming from the amount of damage that's allowed through, and so the defender really has to be careful with that. Reverberate is a common. That's a 1 cost, the red version again, of course. Deal 3 arcane damage to the target opposing hero. If Reverberate deals damage, you may banish a wizard non-attack action card from your hand with a 1 cost less than or equal to the damage dealt by Reverberate. If you do, you may play it this turn as though it were an instant. So interesting. These are really long, complicated things, but they all amount to a very similar thing. You do some damage. If the amount of damage you're able to get through will allow you to do other things. It will allow you to banish cards to play as instants. It will allow you to scry the top of your deck, or opt, I guess, the top and bottom of your deck to set up the deck the way you want. And we've seen Voltic Bolt, of course. So that was in one of the videos I did early last week when the wizard was first announced. And that is the red version is a 2 cost, deal 5 arcane damage to target hero. So there were 14 generics that were spoiled last week as well. And so Bracers of Belief is one of the first equipment cards. That's a generic equipment card. And it says, action, destroy the Bracers of Belief, reveal the top card of your deck. If you do, this next action card you play this turn gains +X attack, where X is 3 minus the pitch value of the card revealed this way. Go again. I would see that for Ninja or a running lean Warrior. I don't know if I'd see that for Guardian or Brute. It's one of those where I think that this might be something that plays well with the Ranger when it comes out. I'm not sure. The Brute just runs too many. The Guardian just runs too many expensive cards, too many pitch 3s where you're going to be pumping this for 0, and so breaking it would be worthless. The Null Rune armor we talked about in the last video that we did. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that, but essentially you can't really defend physically with it. It would get shredded in half because it's just cloaks, it looks like, for the most part. But it does have the new keyword Arcane Barrier, and that allows you to pay to deflect the arcane damage coming at you. Art of War was released as a spoiler early in the week last week, but they did it in increments, which was kind of cool. You saw the artwork, and then you saw kind of the cost and the pitch value, and then you saw the choose two, and then it started slowly releasing the abilities of the cards. It was kind of cool effect the way they did it. So there are only 2 Majestics among the generics in Arcane Rising, and this is one of them. So this is a 1 cost, 2 pitch, choose 2, attack action cards you control gain +1 physical attack and +1 defense this turn. The next attack action card you play this turn gains go again. Until end of turn, you may defend with attack action cards from the arsenal, which is really changes a lot of things there when we have that out there. And then you may banish an attack action card from your hand. If you do, draw 2 cards. So very interesting on this, and I think like this is a great example. This card will be great in Warrior, where you can lead off. You can add a couple more attack action cards to your deck, in my opinion. Giving them the ability to go again is pretty powerful, and then being able to attack with your weapon, then maybe give it go again, and then attack again. Like you can start to string out attacks. This card will be, I think, pretty good in a lot of decks. Where one of the challenges I personally feel with the Guardian now is, I'm coming with this big 9 attack. You see this big 9 attack. I've got pummel, right? So I've got pummel. I can stack on pummel. So I've got pummel, and then I've got pummel are my attack reactions for Guardian. So the challenge with that becomes, if I'm sitting on the other side of that, I know, well, all I got to really do here is prepare for pummel. And the red version does 4, so let me just prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And I know I'm defending 9. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to defend 9. I win a lot of games with Guardian, but that's one of the challenges. There's the unknown comes really heavily in like the Ninja and a few other play styles. The Warrior, I don't know what they have and what they're trying to stack onto the attack. So a card like this would be, I think, really good in that deck, because having 3 of these, being able to pay 1, give my next attack go again, and draw 2 cards for banishing a card, actually getting card draw there, I think is really powerful, and that allows me to fund an additional attack with my weapon or whatever. I'm going to be pitching into my graveyard. Like this card, I think, becomes critical in a lot of decks, which, with it being a Majestic, is going to be a challenge from getting a hold of them. But excited about this card. This will be a really strong card in a lot of different ways, a lot of flexibility. Pursuit of Knowledge is a super rare that was just spoiled, I think, yesterday. I'm making this video on Sunday, and it is a 3-pitch, 2-cost. If Pursuit of Knowledge hits, it's an attack action card. Your hero gains +1 intellect until the end of turn. So that's really good. Again, forcing your opponent, like, you really got to block this. You don't want me drawing up 5 at the end of my turn. So, so really putting some good decisions. Life for a Life was spoiled early in the week, and it is the red version, a 1-pitch, 1-cost. If Life for a Life hits, you gain a life. And when you play Life for a Life, if you have less life than your opponent, it gains go again. Life for a Life probably would be a good physical attack for the Wizard, of course, because you're starting with less life. Plunder Run, spoiled very early in the week. The next time an attack action card you control hits this turn, draw a card. It's a 0-cost, the red version, 0-cost, 1-pitch. If Plunder Run is played from Arsenal, the next attack action card you play this turn gains +3, and it has go again. So very interesting, this card. I don't want to try to fit all of these cards into different metas, but I mean, there's some really cool mechanics coming out with these. Irina's Prayer was something that was spoiled late this week. Reveal the top card of your deck. Prevent the next X arcane damage that would be dealt to you this turn, where X is 6 minus the pitch value of the card revealed this way. And so this is going to be an answer. This is probably going to be a pretty decent sideboard card for a lot of different constructed decks to be able to answer the wizard and any arcane damage that can come your way. So Moonwish is in its red version, is a 2-cost, 1-pitch. Moonwish and Sunkiss kind of go together. They play off of each other. So it is, you may put a card from your hand on top of your deck rather than pay Moonwish's cost. If Moonwish hits, search your deck for a card named Sunkiss, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. This is a mechanic that's come off of a couple of different Magic cards that I've seen in the past, but Sunkiss is 0 cost on its red version, gain 3 life. If you've played a card named Moonwish this turn, draw a card, and Sunkissed gains go again. So if in that same turn you were able to play that card, that's a really cool combinations there, especially for common cards. So we're starting to see a little life gain as well work its way in. Whisper of the Oracle was spoiled a while ago, at least the art we've seen for a long time, and the details of the card were spoiled earlier in the week. And this is the first opt card that we saw, and that's the Scry mechanic. So it's 0 cost, the red version. Opt 4, which is look at the top 4 cards of your deck and put them on the bottom or top in any order, and then go again. So this is a critical card for the wizard. Being able to do that, arrange the top deck, fire off your instant, I mean, that's just got to be some synergy there. But for some other cards as well, some other heroes as well, I should say, to be able to allow for those look at the top card, do something mechanics, Whisper of the Oracle will be a set that people are going to want probably 9 of, not necessarily in their deck, but 9 of in case you need that flexibility. So some really cool cards coming out. Shield Wall's had a couple of events already. We got our pre-release on the 21st. We're excited about that. It's hard to fit some of these things necessarily into the different meta and the different decks that are playing right now, but it's something that I think as we're seeing more come out, you can start to feel that out and start to see how these things can fit in. And as you play the game more, and as I've played the game more, I've noticed, like, God, I wish I could do this thing, right? I'd love to be able to scry here, to be able to see what and these abilities are starting to come out. I saw something interesting on the Discord where somebody said, the base game is the 8 heroes. So if you look at it from that perspective, we haven't really even seen the full base game yet. And then the release in August will, of course, be some balancing, I'd imagine, and it's going to bolster cards for all of the 8 heroes that are there from some of the information that we've seen there. So really exciting stuff coming. Keep it tuned into Shield Wall Gaming. And thanks for watching. Thanks for giving us a chance.